the Black Bulls captain, Yami Sukehiro, versus the Black Bulls vice captain, Nacht Faust. Who would win? This is a discussion that I've seen a lot in the fandom, and especially during the weeks where Nacht was fighting the twin devils Lilith and Nama. And this is something that I have thought about for a while as well, and now it's finally time for me to make the video on the topic and answer the question of who wins in this titanic battle. Now the first thing that I do want to go over in this video is discussing what I know will be stated ad nauseum in the comment section of this video. People are going to spam in the comments that because Yami is the captain of the Black Bulls and Nacht is only the vice captain, that means that automatically Yami would win because he's a higher rank. While this can be treated as a piece of evidence in an overall argument, it isn't nearly enough evidence to end the conversation there. It is not an actual argument on its own. Asta isn't even a vice captain yet in his Devil Union form, he would effortlessly wipe the floor with Yami since he was clapping two people at once who would dwarf the power of 80% Dante, who not even Yami could defeat. So, if Asta is stronger than Yami, then it shows that this statement of rank isn't an argument by itself. There are many examples in Black Clover of people of low rank surpassing those of high rank. While it is a good piece of evidence in an overall argument, it is not in itself an argument, so you just need to keep that in mind. Let's get deep into the scaling of Nacht and Yami. Now, I have done an entire in-depth video on Yami, a video that you should definitely check out if you've not already, but I'll quickly rehash the inverse scaling for him in that video. Yami was overall very comparable to an 80% Dante, as he could react to him, could damage him, and was fast enough to hit him. But he could not defeat Dante because of how potent his body magic regeneration was. He would completely blow holes through him, but Dante would just regenerate nearly instantly. Luckily for me, there are common opponents between Nacht and Yami that would allow me to scale him much easier. Both Yami and Nacht fought an 80% Dante, so we can compare their fight. Base Nacht was forced to a grovel by the presence of the Demon King, but once he activated Devil Union Equus, he was not only able to withstand the gravity, but also commit to a blow-for-blow fight with Dante. Nacht could react to this Dante, take attacks, as well as dish out blows that could damage him as well, but they just weren't nearly strong enough to do anything because of his regeneration. Now you could just look at Nacht's performance against Dante and compare it to Yami's, and then you might say that this is a done deal, that not only did Yami perform better, but pair this with that he is the captain and Nacht is only the vice captain, and that means that if in a duel, the most likely scenario between the Allies of Darkness, that would end with Yami as the winner. But this isn't the end of the discussion. For one, we actually know that the Dante that Nacht fought was even stronger than the one that Yami faced. This is because Morris used his sorcery science to make Dante stronger, as well as amplify his body magic regeneration. While the statement is vague as to how much stronger Dante is, thanks to Morris, there's actually evidence that he grew a lot stronger thanks to this sorcery. We can gather this by comparing Nacht and his fight with Asta, and we know that Asta with his devil arm was comparable to Dante, but weaker, and was also comparable to Yami, since he was able to fight alongside him in a synchronized way. Yami did have to save Asta a few times, but that was because Dante was focusing on Asta because he had the anti-magic. And we also know that this version of Asta was incredibly low on stamina, so low that he could only be in his black form with the devil arm for 50 seconds, with the true anti-magic power from Libe, and his black form prior to that, and prior to the Devil's Bargain, was incredibly small, even lesser than when he first uses against Spirit Ladros. But Nacht fights a full stamina Devil Arm Asta, who would then be much stronger than this version since he would be at a full power. And also, when Dante fought that version, a much weaker version of that Devil Arm Asta, Asta did not have all of his swords with him. Remember, he had to recall all of his swords because they were far away from him because he quickly joined the fight with Yami and only had the Slayer with him. It would be a different scenario if he had all the swords with him from the beginning. And for days and days, Nacht just straight up clapped this Asta that was far stronger than the one that Dante fought over and over again. This wasn't even full power Nacht. As you'd eventually reveal, he had access to Mana Zone when he activated Dark Prison Hunting Ground, a spell which makes him unsensible to key users as well, an important thing that will need to be mentioned again later in this video. And we know that thanks to the guidebook that Mana Zone is a many times multiplier to one's stats, and Nacht didn't even use it against Dante. Not even this Dante could clap Asta the way that Nacht did. And Asta had to start with all of his swords spread out away from him in that fight, like I said. Essentially what this means is that it is highly likely that Dante got way stronger from the sorcery of Morris based on the scaling of the Devil Arm Astas. And Nacht could swap hands with this version of Dante, a stronger one, without even using Mana Zone. There's no guarantee that Yami could do the same. This means that Nacht was fighting against a much stronger Dante than Yami did, and held his own despite not even using close to his full power. This really puts into question if the captain is really stronger than the vice captain. Now if you're still here, that means you like the video, so please do leave a like, and then also comment your thoughts down below. Tell me who you think is going to win. We're not all the way there yet, but let me know now, based on what we've gone through so far, who wins this fight between Nacht and Yami. Comment down below and let the debates flow. Subscribe if you've not already, turn on notifications, and also you can join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. And also a huge shout out to Polsky Art for another amazing commission. I've been getting so many commissions from him, but I just love it. Saves me time for making thumbnails, and I get to support artists in the community, and it's better than what anything I could make. So huge shout out to them. You can follow them on Twitter and get commissions from them if you are interested. That being said, let's get back to the video. Now let's go next to what else Nacht has done. Nacht would be forced to fight two of the Cliff-Off Devils. While yes, the twin devils Lilith and Nama were holding back against Nacht, it is important to recognize that Nacht saw a limited portion of their power as drastically above that of the Dante he had just fought. Nacht was able to dodge their attacks with the agility of Feats, which would be faster than any attack from Yami. And again, that's without Mana's own. He was also able to survive attacks from them with Equus. And it's important to remember that during all of these encounters with Dante and the Twin Devils, he was without Gimodello, whose Shadow Clone abilities would have made the battle a lot different. Nacht was also able to hit them with Gallus, and that actually stopped them from moving. And then in the Double Devil Union, where he combines with two devils at once, Nacht would surpass his limits and then use his power to create a spell that was at the level of a Supreme Devil. The Monument of Atonement, which traps enemies in a world without shadow, light, life, or death. It was only because of Devil Fire and Devil Ice magic and its ability to erase concepts that the two were able to break out, since they could burn or freeze and destroy those concepts. So what happens if Nacht and Yami fight? Well, at the very least, regular Devil Union Nacht is close in power to Yami, if not stronger. This means that Monozone with Nacht would either clear the gap or make him far surpass Yami, and then I do not see Yami having any sort of chance against a double Devil Union Nacht. Yami, while he was stronger than an 80% Dante, and it was the regeneration that was keeping him in tow, but Nacht fought a stronger version of Dante. Nacht wasn't even close to his full power. He has Monozone on top of that, he has double Devil Union on top of that, and then he should have a double Devil Union paired with Monozone on top of that as well. And throughout a lot of these fights, he did not have Gimodello, so he loses a quarter of the source of his power, and he loses one of his most powerful abilities in Pack, which he creates a bunch of shadow clones of himself, which even us as a key sensing user could not even differentiate between the real Nacht and the fake Nocts. So Nacht could dodge Yami's attacks with Feats. He could take most of his attacks with Equus. He could possibly freeze Yami in his tracks with Gallus, and then his Mana's own spell makes it so key users can't even sense him, hugely nerfing one of Yami's biggest advantages. Nacht would also have Gimodello in this matchup, thus he could make shadow clones of himself. In theory, he'd be able to make shadow clones of his double Devil Union, in which he would just clap Yami absolutely at that point. Sure, if he gets hit by Dimension Slash or Death Thrust, Nacht would be damaged by it or killed. But if you can dodge attacks from Lilith and Nama, who far surpass Dante, a stronger Dante than the one that Yami fought, and then he can increase his power by Monozone and double Devil Union on top of that, then I just don't see him getting hit by Dimension Slash or Death Thrust. That is, even if Yami can tell which Nacht is which when he activates Gimodello's Shadow Clone characteristic. When it comes to the Monument of Atonement, it technically is stated by Nacht to be a separate world, so maybe, just maybe, Dimension Slash can break out of it like Equinox's version of it did within Glamour World. While I would assume Nacht's spell is stronger, since it's at the level of a Supreme Devil, it still should be that Yami can break out of it with Dimension Slash. Well, that is really the only thing that Yami can do in this bout. His key sensing is going to be rendered null by Nacht's Shadow Magic Monozone, and Nacht just simply has better stats to scaling by facing off against way stronger characters. This does bring about an interesting discussion though. If Nacht was nothing against the Twin Devils, then the logic applies neither is Yami as well. Now possibly, if he were a part of a team that could trap devils, and then he finishes them off with Dimension Slash or Death Thrust because he is Arcane, but on his own, Yami really isn't that strong anymore. Devil Union Asta, Boreas Uno, Nacht, maybe even Charla, and possibly even Jack are all stronger than him, which is both weird and interesting. If Yami were to break out of the ritual for one reason or the other, he wouldn't be that much help except for those two spells. But I do think that if he does return somehow, of course Avada, he will give him some sort of a power boost, and that would be something that also might not even be mentioned. But whether just the very battle with Dante in the past made him stronger once recovering, or just naturally surpassing his limits. Remember, in the guidebook, Yami has a 5 out of 5 in limit breaking. Or maybe Yami will take the power of the very Cliff-Off Advent ritual. I mean, the cliff off tree is absorbing magic in the area, and Yami alongside William is the basis of the tree. Maybe some of this dark power will flow into their body and drastically increase their power, making both of them strong enough to fight devils. While it is weird that Yami really isn't that strong anymore, overall, it would still be very easy to change that when he returns, or even if he returns. He might die because of the ritual of this arc. But overall, I think it would be cool one day to see these two fight in a future arc, maybe in some sort of training session, as the dynamic would be very interesting. Dark magic versus shadow magic. But yeah, overall, I just don't see Yami defeating Nacht, just based on the power creep that has taken place this arc. Just a bit ago, 80% Dante was insanely strong. Now, he would be considered fodder, and that was even before he got the 100% Devil Mana. Nacht just has better stats and is far more versatile and takes away one of Yami's advantages and ki. And while I don't think Nacht does anything with the firepower of Dimension Slash or Death Thrust, he should still be able to damage and take down his captain with his other spells. Now let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know who you would think would win this battle. If you guys do enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications, and also join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Stay tuned for Tuesday's theory video regarding Charmy, and hope you guys do end up all having an absolutely amazing day. Plus...